Humanitarian broadcaster.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And yourself?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's a pleasure. Okay, now let's start off by telling us more about your journey when you started, especially with the dishwashing liquid, but you also have another business called Fearless Trends. So let us start from the beginning.
Okay, I studied business management at Pearson Institute, and after I graduated, I wanted to start a business, and digital marketing was one of those things that I had a special passion for and I really loved. So I started Fearless Trends. I had my first client. I learned and experimented with them. And 2 years later, I had 7 clients, including Study Trust, the African Leadership Academy, and other big names. And that is how it all started. And the business grew pretty fast, so I got to a point where I couldn't manage the business properly. It being my first
Mm-hmm.
business and having very little experience in the industry, so I ended up the business wasn't working out, and I lost a few clients, and I was just very nervous in that space, and I thought maybe I should start another business. In
Mm-hmm.
conversation with my mom, she advised that I should start distributing cleaning products. And that's when I thought, okay, I can actually just come up with my own brand, and that's
Mm.
really how it happened. That evening, I was playing around on my laptop trying to come up with the first logo, the name, and that's how Spotless came about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when did you make your first bottle of spotless dishwashing liquid?
It was in 2018. I think I'll say
Mm-hmm.
around September because we played around with a few formulas and with different raw materials because when we first got our first formula, there was so many. We got it from the internet, and there was so many raw materials we didn't have in South Africa. So we had to play around with similar raw materials and sort of like try and compensate and substitute others with others that we could find. And so I think the first bottle that was what we wanted it to be was in September in 2018. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
And I
why
was
dishwashing liquid?
it was a conversation that so when I spoke to my mom, she was telling me about cleaning products, so I thought of a cleaning range, but dishwashing
Mm-hmm.
liquid of the ones that we have thought of is the easiest to produce. So I would really like it that maybe one day when I'm using an interview I say, I'm so passionate about dishwashing liquid, but that's not the case. It is just the easiest to produce. And also the idea of cleaning products was really my mother's idea. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
growing in the industry now that I'm falling in love with it. But when I went into the industry, it was not something that I can say I've been dreaming about since I was a kid, or I studied it and or whatever. So it was just one of those industries that you really stumble upon, and you see that there's value in
Yes.
the market. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So that's
So, what makes your products different from the rest and your competitors?
so if you look at what's available on the shelves right now, there's very little. There isn't like okay. So there's the very expensive products and there's the very cheap ones. The very
Mm-hmm.
expensive being the very common ones that we all know, and they are the great products, and the cheapies are very bad quality. So our product
Mm-hmm.
sort of like comes in between those two um, very distant ranges, and we have a very good quality product at just an affordable price. So that's what makes our
Mm-hmm.
product very different. And we've tried our level best not to have cheap products that will corrode or cause irritation to skin and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what are some of the challenges that you faced when you were creating this product?
So first of all, if you're not a mechanical engineering student or graduate, you really don't know what really goes in there. So it's all
Mm-hmm.
just trial and run, trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
So actually coming up with the perfect formula and getting to a point where you say, okay, so I mixed these products and my hands are not peeling off. I don't have irritation in my skin. That took time. But as you go
Mm-hmm.
on, once you've perfected your formula, I think scaling is a big problem because you can't mix in your 25-liter buckets for long in manufacturing, and the money starts coming in only when you start creating in bulk, and the manufacturing equipment is very expensive. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a very tough industry when it comes to you getting to a point where you can create just enough products to make money. or else you're gonna be just making enough to have a product for a very long time.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Hmm. So, have you approached any companies for sponsorships or investments?
I believe our so the only um, partnerships that I've made right now were to get the manufacturing equipment that we have. So we partnered with someone else who now has shares into
Hmm.
the business so that we can get equipment. But I don't believe that
Yeah.
our business is at a level yet where we should be knocking at people's doors and asking for huge amounts of investments. Because I'm at a place where I know that the business model works. We've broken even, and we have got great potential of making a lot of money. So if I get too desperate right now and say maybe we want 5 delivery vehicles, and then I say to someone, give me 300,000 rands and you'll get 40% of the business in 2 years' time, that is gonna be a big mistake. So I don't want to make any rash decisions when it comes to that. And I think I've sort of gained that experience with the last business that I ran. So don't go into things
Hmm.
too quickly. Yeah, just sink in it and work hard until you get to a point where you say, okay, I really need someone to invest, and they're gonna get worse for their money, and I'm also gonna get worse for the time that I've invested in the business and how much money they're giving in return.
Hmm. So, you entered the Anzisha program and you won the prize. How did you feel when you won?
Corrections, I didn't win the prize. I was a finalist, so I was the only South African,
Hmm.
and I didn't enter the Anzisha prize with Spotless. This was in 2017, so this was for my first business. I
Hmm.
applied when my business was like 5 months old, and I was the only South African that was selected. I was one of the 15 finalists from all over Africa. So that was very exciting. Being able to
Mm.
represent your country is just the best thing ever. And I wasn't even in the top three, but I did get some money for my business and I could scale up a bit. And yeah, I think just getting recognition as a young entrepreneur makes you want to push even harder. So has been one of the greatest highlights of my life. And even today, there's still a lot of things that so many networks that I'm a part of now because of the Anzisha Prize. So I'm very
Mm.
grateful for that. Yeah,
All right.
it's amazing.
Congratulations for making it to the top three. All right. How can we create a culture of job creators and not job seekers? Because we there are opportunities to create jobs, and there are a lot of people who are looking for employment. Because we do know, let's face it, not everyone can be a job creator, not everyone can be a leader. So how can we create the culture of being job creators?
I think awareness. There's a lot of people that have got the entrepreneurship bug in them, but it hasn't been activated because they haven't been exposed to someone who's doing entrepreneurship successfully, or they don't think entrepreneurship is a valid career path. I was very lucky for one that I grew up with my grandmother, who is still an entrepreneur today. She brews African traditional beer. She sells popcorn and stuff and that. So I knew that was a very valid career path. But as much as I knew that it was possible that I could have a decent living from that. I didn't think it was something that I could just wake up one day and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. I had to fail at something first and take that as
Mm.
the second option. Do you understand? So I think if we create awareness, for example, my little brothers now know that they can be entrepreneurs and there's nothing wrong with taking that route. So I think if there's
Mm.
enough awareness, the successful entrepreneurs should go out, especially kids who are growing up in the village. There's basically nothing. They have no one to learn from. So going to these schools, going to these youth places where you find them, social media awareness, just letting them know that entrepreneurship is not because maybe if you failed your accounting, then you can be an entrepreneur. No, you can actually be in grade 12 and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. Do you understand? So, and I
Mhm.
think if our school curriculums have some sort of entrepreneurship models incorporated in them, that would be very helpful. Because once a kid is in grade 10 and they're learning about entrepreneurship, I think they also start searching themselves that is there something entrepreneurial in me that I want to do in like out there. So I think awareness
Mm.
is the greatest thing. If they don't know, they won't know they have it in them.
Mm, that's true. I remember
Yeah.
at the school that I attended, we always used to have something called Market Day, where we would
I
sell
did
some
too.
items. And when we sold the items, well, the money went to the school and not to us. So, but anyways, we learned how to be entrepreneurs, and from those market days, I learned to be a good marketer because I'd be sold out of my products. It was popcorn, but I'd be sold out, and I'd be helping my
Mm.
fellow students sell their
Sell
products,
what they
marketing
have.
to other
Yeah.
students, and that. we need more market days so that kids can
Mm.
build social skills as well and be able to sell products to people. Because I mean, we can't just continue looking for jobs as it is. The job markets are being cut, and
Yeah,
jobs
and I
people are being retrenched everywhere. So
Yeah, and I
we
think
need.
if every young person starts understanding that it's each one of our responsibilities to create employment. I mean, like we're facing a very big crisis when it comes to employment, and everyone is just waiting for someone to do something. So if we get to a point where we all take responsibility and say that I am responsible, that I need to do something to create employment, not even just entrepreneurship, maybe go into leadership and make sure that the people who are going into the jobs are the right people that are gonna, you're not occupying spaces that you shouldn't be in. Do you understand? So I think just
Hmm.
just the matter of everyone taking responsibility and say, okay, we have got an unemployment crisis in this country, in this continent, and I'm responsible. The minute you start saying that I'm responsible for that, then you start coming up with solutions. Yeah.
Hmm. Now,
Mm.
it's obviously not easy being a young black female when it comes to a business. Are there any challenges that you faced being a young black female?
I've never been white before, so I don't know what challenges the white people don't face. But it's very difficult. I think just for any young entrepreneur, black, blue, pink, red, because when you're very young, very few people can trust you with their money. Do you understand? So even if I say
Mm,
I need 30,000 rands to start my business, you get it. You're too young. I've never had
mm,
anyone saying I'm too black or whatever. But just being young as it is, you don't have enough experience, especially when you're going into a new industry like I did. What do you know about manufacturing? What do you know about cleaning products? What do you know about chemical engineering? You know nothing about those industries. So just you being a young person who's inexperienced, you only just have a dream. So it's very difficult for people to say, this is my money, this is my time, I'm going to invest in you. So it's very
mm-hmm,
difficult. Yeah. So you have to, I think at the very beginning, it has to be a matter of you believing in yourself more than anyone, and you're willing to put in that extra work so that once it's something that everyone can, they can see that you have a bottle of dishwashing liquid, then people will say, okay, she has something. What can I help her with? How can I invest into this product? So it's difficult just starting because very few people, even your family, sometimes don't believe that you can actually do it.
mm-hmm. Of
Mm.
course, I mean, you need to surround yourself with people who are positive, who are behind you every step of the way, people who are
Mm.
supporting your dreams and your goals. All
And I
right,
think also
so
you need to
mhm,
understand that sometimes you won't have those people backing you, and your
yes,
drive and your dream should be big enough, or you should want it hard enough that you're willing to travel the journey on your own. Because entrepreneurship is a very lonely road, so sometimes you won't have anyone to pat you on the back or anyone to do anything at all.
hmm,
So you should be willing to travel it on your own because sometimes you won't get
hmm,
those people who will be cheering you on in the back. Yeah.
of course. All right, ma'am. We have a game that we play. It's called Quick Fire. I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and all you have to do is answer them as quick as you can. Are you
All
ready?
right. I am ready.
All right. If you were president, what would your top priority be?
Employment.
Mhm. If you could have a superpower, what would you choose?
Read minds. I would like to read people's minds. To know what everyone is thinking about everything.
What men want. What's your favorite quote?
Start now. I don't even know whose code this is, but I think it's my code actually. Start now. Start today with what you have. It doesn't matter where you want to get, but if you start now, don't make any excuses. Then you'll get where you want to get to.
Hmm. Name a book that we should read.
Actually, because I'm doing this interview in my bedroom.
Hmm.
Healing the Soul of a Woman by Joyce Meyer. This is my stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Thank you for showing us. At least we have an idea of what the book looks like
Looks
when
like
we go to the
yeah.
bookstores.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, name 3 people or organizations that we should follow on social media.
Um, follow me at TFP Lambani on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Anzisha Prize. Obviously, they have great content going out at Anzisha Prize, and follow Sherry Silva. So Sherry Silva is a dancer. She stays in the UK right now. She comes from Africa, and she's just doing amazing work. she's a cheerleader for black women, she's a cheerleader for females, and that's the lady
Mm-hmm.
you should be following right now. She's doing very well in her career, and I love her. I love her.
Yes, we should be cheerleaders of one another. Big
Mm.
ups to her and big ups to you too. And well, that's the game. Quick fire. You've managed to answer all of the questions. So, yay.
Thank you.
Right, moving along. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would love to be in a place where we have a full range. So we've got formulas for fabric softener, liquid laundry cleaners. Like, we've got like a full range of products. And in 5 years, we want to have launched all of them and be producing and supplying on a continental base. So this
Mm-hmm.
year, until from now until June next year, we want to be saturating the local markets. So KZN and Pumalanga, and once we've fully saturated the South African market, we can now branch out into our neighboring continents and then spread wider in the African continent.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just where I want to see the business, where I want to see myself. I think I want to be in a good space mentally, because entrepreneurship gets very depressing, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on my mental health for quite some time. So if I get to a point where I feel like I'm composed, I'm in a great space mentally, and then because so right now I've also been struggling to get into well, I get a lot of invites from high school saying I should come and motivate the kids. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do that at the moment because I feel like I'm not in a great space mentally, and if you're not okay mentally, you can't give anything. So just getting myself to a point where I'm fine mentally and I feel like I've got enough in me to give, then that'll be, I would love to be there. I would love to be there tomorrow. I would love to be there in 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where can we find Spotless? Tiofi? Tiofi? All right, we seem to have lost Tiofi over there, maybe due to load shedding and network problems, but don't worry. We're trying to get her back on the line. You can follow her on social media. She's on Twitter, she's on Instagram. She is a young woman, 22-year-old. She's a CEO and entrepreneur, and she is doing wonderful things. And like she said, let's be a nation of job creators and not much of job seekers, because as it is right now, the job market is being slashed and people are going to be losing jobs everywhere. So let's focus on creating as many jobs as we can. I think she's back on the line, Tiofi.
Yes, sorry about that.
All right, no problem. So I asked you, where can we find a Spotless?
We are on Facebook. It's Spotless Cleaning. So if you
Mhm,
do the www.facebook.com/, it's Spotless ZA, at Spotless ZA. And we put
mhm.
up all our content on Facebook. So please like our page and follow us and know when we've got new products coming, and our dishwashing liquid in different sizes. So please just follow us and keep updated with what's happening with Spotless Cleaning.
Hmm. And lastly, what advice would you give to the youth?
Start when you've got an entrepreneurial idea. Please start immediately. Just start now. We wait for too long. I think I've interacted with so many young people with great ideas of what they want to do in their communities, what they want to do in the country, and they're just waiting for someone to come and tell them it's good enough. Sometimes don't do that.
Hmm.
Don't wait. Just start with what you have. Start right now. Start immediately. Start Googling about how you can do it small scale. Start finding out and equipping yourself with the skills that are needed for you to offer that service. Just start right now, today, immediately.
All right. So thank you so much for chatting to us, and I wish you well in your future endeavors. 5 years
Thank
time, we'll
you.
catch up with you once again to find out where Spotless is and where Tiofi is.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the great
It's
interview.
it's a pleasure. Have yourself a lovely day. And that was Maemu Lambani, a 22-year-old CEO and businesswoman entrepreneur. Her first batch of, or not first batch, but rather who has launched a dishwashing range or dishwashing liquid called Spotless. You can find out more on where you can purchase the products by visiting their Facebook page. It's Spotless ZA. They are on Facebook, and if you can't find them, then follow her on social media and you'll be able to get all the information you need about Maemu as well as Spotless. And like I said, we want to catch up with her in 5 years from now and see where Spotless is. She's mentioned that she'd like to see it, her launching a lot more ranges, product ranges, and yeah, good luck to her and good luck to all you other achievers out there. The world is your oyster and you can do it. All you have to do is start. It is 12:30. You are listening to the Mara Mukwanda Show. We will be right back.